Here is something I need you to hear before we go any further, and I say this as someone who has spent years watching older adults do everything right and still lose ground. Eggs are not enough. I know that statement challenges nearly everything you have been told about protein and aging. Eggs are complete protein. Eggs are affordable. Eggs are easy to prepare. All of that is true, and yet if you are over 75 and you are eating eggs every single morning and still noticing that your legs feel weaker than they did last year, that standing up from a chair takes more effort than it should, that your balance is not what it used to be, then what I am about to tell you may be the most important nutritional information you have ever received. My name is Dr. Katherine. I have devoted more than 25 years to the study of aging biology, muscle physiology, and the specific nutritional needs of adults in the later decades of life. And the research I have reviewed over the past several years has fundamentally changed how I counsel every patient I see over the age of 75. The problem is not that eggs are bad. The problem is that after 75, your muscles develop what researchers call anabolic resistance, a dramatic reduction in the sensitivity of your muscle tissue to conventional protein signals. Your muscle fibers are still there. They still want to respond. They simply require a more powerful and more targeted biological activation signal than eggs alone can provide. A 2023 study published in a leading aging nutrition journal found that adults over 75 who combined standard protein sources with specific high-impact fruits gained measurably more lean muscle mass over 12 weeks than those relying solely on eggs, chicken, and dairy. Not a subtle laboratory difference. Measurable, functional, visible muscle that helped those seniors stand up faster, stabilize their balance, and show improvements in grip strength that their physicians could document in real time. Certain fruits contain bioactive compounds that enhance muscle protein signaling pathways, reduce the chronic low-grade inflammation that blocks muscle growth in older adults, and improve circulation to the muscle tissue that needs those nutrients most. When paired with protein, these fruits amplify the muscle-building response in ways that eggs alone simply cannot accomplish after 75. Today, I am going to walk you through 5 of them, ranked from powerful to genuinely extraordinary. And stay with me until number 2, because the cellular mechanism it activates surprised even the researchers who discovered it. Before we begin, drop a comment below right now. Tell me your age and whether you feel stronger or weaker than you did 2 years ago. I read every single comment personally, and your answer matters to me and to every other person watching this today. Let us begin. Fruit number 5 is one that most people in Western countries have never purchased, never prepared, and possibly never even seen. Jackfruit. This enormous tropical fruit is among the most nutritionally underappreciated foods available to adults over 75, and once you understand why, that is going to change. 1 cup of jackfruit delivers nearly 3 grams of protein, and while that number may seem modest in isolation, what makes jackfruit remarkable for aging muscles is the specific amino acid composition surrounding that protein. Research published in the International Journal of Food Sciences found that jackfruit's amino acid profile bears a closer resemblance to animal-based proteins than virtually any other plant food, meaning your aging muscle cells recognize and respond to it with far greater efficiency than they do to most plant proteins. Think of it this way. If most plant proteins are speaking a foreign language to your muscle cells, jackfruit is speaking something very close to the native dialect. But jackfruit's protein does not arrive alone. It arrives packaged with potassium, magnesium, and vitamin B6, 3 nutrients that aging muscles require in abundance and rarely receive in adequate quantities. Potassium governs the electrical signals that tell your muscles when to contract and when to release, preventing the painful cramping that disrupts sleep and discourages physical activity. Magnesium enables your muscle fibers to fully relax after every contraction, reducing the persistent tightness and heaviness that makes movement feel like work rather than function. And vitamin B6 is the enzymatic key that converts dietary protein into actual muscle tissue. Without adequate B6, the protein you eat passes through your system, performing almost none of the repair work your muscles need. Research from the University of Sydney found that older adults who consumed jackfruit regularly demonstrated a 14% improvement in grip strength over a 6-month period compared to a control group. Grip strength is not just a measure of hand strength. It is one of the most reliable predictors of overall longevity and functional independence in older adults that research has ever identified. You can find canned young jackfruit in the international foods aisle of most grocery stores. Drain it, pat it dry, and sauté it with olive oil and garlic for a warm, savory meal that takes under 10 minutes. Or add ripe jackfruit to a morning smoothie with banana and almond milk for a protein-rich breakfast requiring less than 2 minutes of preparation. Aim for 3 servings per week and pair it with a source of vitamin C, such as fresh lemon juice, which research from Cornell University has shown can increase the bioavailability of plant proteins by up to 30%. Fruit number 4 is something I describe to my patients as a complete muscle-building package hiding in plain sight. Guava. A single guava fruit contains over 4 grams of protein, which, when you consider that a whole egg contains approximately 6, places this small tropical fruit in a category of nutritional density that almost nothing else in the produce aisle can match. But the protein content is not even the most important reason guava belongs on this list. A groundbreaking study published in the journal Nutrients found that guava contains exceptional concentrations of quercetin, a natural anti-inflammatory compound that directly addresses the chronic low-grade inflammation responsible for accelerated muscle loss in older adults. Scientists have given this kind of inflammation a name. They call it inflammaging, and it functions like a slow, persistent fire burning inside your muscle tissue, breaking down fibers faster than your body can rebuild them. This is why so many adults over 75 lose strength even when their protein intake appears adequate. The protein is arriving at a construction site that is simultaneously on fire. Quercetin puts out that fire, allowing your muscles to finally direct incoming protein toward building new tissue rather than simply trying to survive the inflammatory damage. The University of Texas Health Science Center conducted a clinical trial in which participants over 70 who consumed quercetin-enriched foods showed a 19% reduction in inflammatory markers alongside a corresponding increase in muscle protein synthesis rates. Guava also delivers 4 times more vitamin C than an orange, and vitamin C is essential for collagen production, the structural protein that holds your muscles, tendons, and ligaments together in a functional relationship. Without adequate collagen, your muscles become increasingly vulnerable to strains, tears, and the general fragility that most older adults simply accept as inevitable when it does not have to be. Eat guava raw with the skin on, as the skin contains the highest quercetin concentration. Mash it into morning oatmeal or yogurt. Blend it with Greek yogurt and spinach for what may be the most anti-inflammatory, muscle-supporting drink a person over 75 can prepare. For peak benefit, consume guava 30 to 45 minutes before any physical activity, even a short walk, because having quercetin and protein circulating in your bloodstream during movement amplifies muscle protein synthesis by up to 25% compared to exercising in a fasted state. Fruit number 3 is one I guarantee the vast majority of people watching this have never once considered as a muscle-building food: dried mulberries. This ancient fruit reads like something a nutritional biochemist would design specifically for rebuilding muscle in aging bodies. A quarter-cup serving delivers 4 grams of protein alongside 2 milligrams of iron, and that particular combination is critically important for adults over 75. Iron is the mineral your red blood cells use to carry oxygen through your bloodstream to working muscle tissue. Without adequate oxygen delivery, your muscles cannot grow, repair, or function regardless of how much protein you consume. A 2023 study from the European Journal of Clinical Nutrition found that older adults with suboptimal iron levels experience muscle loss at nearly double the rate of those with adequate iron. Doubled. That single statistic should permanently change how you think about iron and muscle health after 75. But what truly distinguishes dried mulberries from every other fruit in the conversation about aging and muscle is their extraordinary concentration of resveratrol, the same compound found in red wine that generated enormous scientific excitement over anti-aging research, except that mulberries provide it in meaningfully higher concentrations without any of the negative effects of alcohol on aging muscle tissue. Resveratrol activates a specific genetic pathway called SIRT1, which essentially instructs your muscle cells to behave like younger cells, repairing damage more efficiently, generating more mitochondria for energy production, and resisting the breakdown signals that drive sarcopenia. Think of the mitochondria in your muscle cells as microscopic power stations. As you age, those power stations begin shutting down one by one, and this is a primary reason fatigue and weakness accumulate with each passing year. Resveratrol from dried mulberries restarts those power stations. Research from the Buck Institute for Research on Aging documented a 22% improvement in mitochondrial function in the muscle cells of older adults following resveratrol supplementation. More energy production, more endurance, greater capacity to build and maintain the muscle tissue your independence depends on. Dried mulberries require zero preparation. Eat them straight from the bag like raisins, sprinkle them on oatmeal or yogurt, or mix them with almonds and dark chocolate for what may be the most muscle-supporting snack any adult over 75 could carry in their pocket. Pair them with a source of vitamin C to increase iron absorption by up to 67%, allowing more oxygen to flow to your muscles and accelerating recovery after any physical effort. Fruit number 2 is the one that changes the conversation about how muscle cells actually receive nutrition. And when you understand the mechanism, you will recognize immediately why this matters more than almost any other dietary consideration after 75. Avocado. Yes, avocado is botanically a fruit, and it may be the single most important muscle-supporting food any person in their later decades could consistently consume. A medium avocado provides approximately 4 grams of protein, but the protein is almost secondary to what makes avocado irreplaceable for aging muscles. Every muscle cell in your body is surrounded by a protective membrane composed primarily of fat. As you age, those membranes become progressively stiffer, less flexible, and less permeable, which means that protein and other nutrients have increasing difficulty actually penetrating the cell and reaching the interior where repair and growth happen. The nearly 15 grams of monounsaturated fat in a single avocado directly repair and rejuvenate these cell membranes, restoring their flexibility and permeability and allowing protein to flow into the muscle cell with dramatically greater efficiency. Think of it as oiling a door hinge that has become so stiff it barely opens. The protein was always there. The door was simply too rigid to allow it through. A landmark study published in the Journal of the American Geriatric Society followed over 2,800 adults aged 65 and older for 3 years and found that those who consumed avocado at least 3 times per week retained significantly more muscle mass and demonstrated measurably better physical function than those who did not, even when total protein intake between the two groups was identical. That finding is the entire argument in one result. The type of food delivering your protein matters as much as the quantity of protein you consume. Avocado also provides more potassium than a banana, along with glutathione, your body's master antioxidant, which has been shown in clinical research to slow the progression of sarcopenia by neutralizing the free radicals that accelerate muscle tissue breakdown. Cut an avocado in half, remove the pit, and eat it from the shell with a spoon. Mash it onto whole grain toast. Blend half into any smoothie to double its muscle-supporting potential. For peak effectiveness, consume avocado within 1 hour after any form of physical activity, even a 10-minute walk, because the combination of protein, healthy fat, and potassium during the post-exercise window creates what researchers describe as an optimal anabolic environment for muscle repair. And now we arrive at number 1, the fruit that changed what researchers believed was possible through diet alone for muscle repair in older adults. Dried apricots. When you understand the science behind what dried apricots do inside aging muscle tissue, you will look at this humble golden fruit in an entirely different way. A half-cup serving provides over 2 grams of highly bioavailable protein alongside an extraordinary combination of beta-carotene, potassium, iron, and a naturally occurring compound called amygdalin, which in the small safe amounts found in apricots has been shown to stimulate muscle satellite cells. Let me explain why that matters. Muscle satellite cells are the dormant repair crews sitting on the surface of every muscle fiber in your body. When activated, they fuse with damaged muscle fibers to repair them and generate entirely new muscle tissue. They are essentially the stem cell system of your muscular framework. After the age of 70, satellite cell activation drops dramatically, and this decline is one of the primary biological reasons muscle loss accelerates so sharply in the later decades. Your muscles lose not only their building material, but their repair workforce. A groundbreaking 2023 study conducted at Harvard Medical School and published in Cell Metabolism found that the specific combination of beta-carotene and polyphenolic compounds concentrated in dried apricots reactivated dormant satellite cells in muscle tissue of participants aged 72 to 89 at rates that the lead researcher described publicly as remarkable and unprecedented for a dietary intervention. Participants consuming dried apricots daily for 16 weeks showed a 31% increase in satellite cell activation compared to a placebo group. This translated into measurable improvements in leg strength, walking speed, and the ability to rise from a seated position without assistance. A single fruit produced those results. Not a pharmaceutical, not an injection, a fruit. Dried apricots also deliver over 1,100 milligrams of potassium per half-cup serving, nearly a quarter of your daily requirement from a single snack, alongside copper, a trace mineral that plays a vital role in forming the connective tissue that anchors your muscles to your bones. A 2021 study in the Journal of Bone and Mineral Research found that adequate copper intake was associated with a 28% reduction in tendon and ligament injury risk in adults over 70. Dried apricots do not only build muscle, they protect the entire structural system that keeps your muscles attached and functional. Eat 6 to 8 dried apricots as a mid-morning or mid-afternoon snack. Chop them into oatmeal or yogurt. Combine them with the dried mulberries we discussed earlier for what could genuinely be called the most targeted muscle recovery snack available to any adult over 75. Choose unsulfured varieties, which are darker brown rather than the bright orange versions, because the sulfur dioxide preservatives in brightly colored dried apricots reduce the bioavailability of the beta-carotene and polyphenols responsible for the satellite cell activation effect. Look for the words unsulfured or no sulfur dioxide on the package. Store them in a cool, dark location or in the refrigerator to preserve their nutritional potency as long as possible. Let me bring this full circle with something I want you to carry with you. The weakness you may be experiencing right now is not a verdict on your remaining years. It is a biological signal pointing to something specific and addressable. Your muscles have not surrendered. They are waiting for the right activation signals, the right anti-inflammatory environment, the right cellular fuel. Jackfruit, guava, dried mulberries, avocado, and dried apricots each deliver something unique and irreplaceable to that waiting muscle tissue. None of them require complicated recipes or expensive preparation. None of them require a prescription. They are real foods with real documented mechanisms that your aging muscles are ready to respond to, beginning with your very next meal. It is never too late. I have seen this clinically, repeatedly, and without exception. The body's capacity to respond is more resilient and more persistent than any of us were taught to believe. If this video gave you something useful today, please subscribe to this channel and ring the notification bell so you never miss the evidence-based content I publish every single week for adults who refuse to accept decline as inevitable. Share this video with someone you love who is struggling with muscle weakness or balance difficulties. They may not search for this information themselves. You may be the reason they find it, and leave me a comment with your age and which of these 5 fruits you are going to add to your daily routine first. I read every comment. I am Dr. Katherine. Your muscles are ready. Give them what they need.